Men can say a lot of things, but real love isn't about words. It's about actions. If you've ever wondered whether a man truly loves you or if he's just keeping you around, then pay attention because today I'm breaking down 12 secret signs that show he's genuinely in love with you. If he does most of these, trust me, you're not just another option, you're the one. Number 1. He prioritizes you without having to ask. When a man truly loves a woman, she naturally becomes a priority in his life. You won't have to beg for his time. You won't have to wonder whether he's making space for you because he will. Not out of obligation, but because he genuinely wants to. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to drop everything and make his life revolve around you. That's not love, that's obsession. But here's the difference between a man who likes you and a man who's in love with you. A man who likes you will fit you into his life when it's convenient. A man who loves you will adjust his life to make sure you're a part of it. You'll see it in small things. Maybe he's got a busy schedule, but he finds ways to check in on you, plan time together, or support you when you need him. It's not just about what he says, it's about what he does. If he's always making excuses, if he only calls when he's bored, or if he says that he's just too busy all the time, he's not in love. A man in love will make time because he sees you as someone worth investing in. Number 2, he remembers the little things. A man who's in love with you is paying attention. He's not just listening to respond, he's listening to understand, to remember, and to show that what matters to you matters to him. So, you mentioned your favorite snack from a childhood memory, and out of nowhere, he surprises you with it, or you casually talked about how stressed you've been, and the next time you see him, he's already trying to lighten your load. That's love in action. A man who is just interested might remember the big things, your birthday, your job, maybe your favorite color if you remind him a few times. But a man who loves you will remember the random, tiny details about you, things even you might have forgotten you mentioned. And that's not because he's trying to impress you, it's because he genuinely cares. He's wired to want to make you happy, and he knows the little things are what truly makes someone feel seen and appreciated. Now, if you notice a guy remembering the smallest things, most random details about you, it's not just a sign of interest, that's a sign of deep emotional connection. Number 3, he's protective over you, but not controlling. A man who is in love has a natural instinct to protect the woman that he cares about. And I don't mean some alpha male, let me fight everyone kind of way. True love protection is deeper than that. It's in the subtle ways that he looks out for you. If you're walking together at night, he'll naturally move to the side closer to the street. If you're feeling sick, he'll check in, offer to bring you food, or just be there to support you. And if you're in a tough situation, he's on your side, no questions asked. But let's be clear, there's a big difference between being protective and being controlling. A protective man wants you to feel safe. He supports your independence and respects your decisions. A controlling man wants to own you. He makes you feel like you need his permission or like you owe him something. Now, if your man is trying to limit who you see, control what you wear, or dictate how you live your life, that's not love. That's control disguised as concern. But if he's just naturally looking out for you, making sure you're okay and putting your well-being first, well, that's a man who truly cares. Number 4, he values your opinions and seeks your advice. One of the clearest signs a man loves you is when he truly values your thoughts, your perspective, and your insight. He doesn't just make decisions on his own and inform you later on. He genuinely wants to hear what you think. A lot of guys, when they're just casually dating, will make decisions independently and just expect you to go along with it. But a man in love, he sees you as his equal. He respects your mind and he actually wants to know your perspective before he makes a decision. It could be something small, like asking your opinion on what to wear for an event, or it could be something big, like a career move or a family issue. When a man loves you, he sees your input as valuable. He trusts your judgment. This also shows in how he listens to you. If he loves you, he's not just waiting for his turn to speak. He's really processing what you're saying. He wants to understand, not just respond. And here's a key sign. If you're going through something tough, does he try to solve the problem immediately, or does he actually take time to hear you out? A man who's in love will listen first. and help only when you want him to. Because sometimes women don't need a solution, they just need to be heard. A man who gets that, that's a man in love. Number 5. He's not afraid to be vulnerable with you. Men are trained from a young age to be strong, to be unemotional, to handle things on their own. A lot of guys keep their guard up, not because they don't have feelings, but because they're afraid of being seen as weak. But when a man truly loves a woman, she becomes his safe space, the one person that he can open up to without fear of judgment. You might notice he tells you things he doesn't tell anyone else. Maybe he shares stories from his childhood, his fears, his insecurities, things that to the outside world he keeps locked away. That's because he trusts you on a level he doesn't trust most people. A guy who's just casually interested in you might keep things surface level. He'll joke around, have fun, maybe talk about work stress, but he won't let you in too deep. But a man who loves you, he'll let you see the parts of him that aren't polished, that aren't put together. And here's the thing, he won't just be vulnerable about his past. He'll also open up about how he feels about you. A man in love is not afraid to tell you what you mean to him. Number 6. He puts in effort even when it's not convenient. Number 6. He puts in effort even when it's not convenient. Effort is everything. Anybody can be consistent when things are easy, when the honeymoon phase is fresh, when everything is exciting and new. But a man who truly loves you, he puts in the effort even when it's inconvenient. That means if he's had a long day, he'll still make time for you. If you're going through something, he's there, even if it means adjusting his plans. If you need support, he shows up, not just when it's easy, but when it actually requires sacrifice. A lot of men will be there when it's fun, when it's easy, when there's something in it for them. But a man in love doesn't just care about what he's getting from the relationship, he cares about what he's giving. If he's willing to go out of his way for you without making you feel like it's a burden, if he shows up for you because he wants to, not because he expects something in return, that's real love. Number 7. He talks about a future with you and means it. A man in love doesn't just live in the moment. He starts to see you in his future without hesitation, and I'm not talking about vague, half-hearted comments like, yeah, maybe one day we should travel together. I mean real, intentional discussions about where things are going. When a man truly loves you, he's not afraid to talk about commitment. You'll notice he starts including you in his long-term plans. Maybe he talks about where he wants to live someday and naturally assumes you'll be there with him. Maybe he's saving up for something big and asks for your opinion because it involves you too. He makes it clear that he's not just with you for now, he's with you because he sees a real future together. And here's the important part. He doesn't just say these things to keep you around. He backs it up with real actions. He's consistent. He follows through. He actually makes moves that align with the future he's talking about. On the flip side, if a man dodges any serious future talk, if he changes the subject when commitment comes up, or if he's always using words like, I don't know where I'll be in a few years, well, that's a sign that he's not serious, because when a man truly loves a woman, he's not afraid of the future, he's excited about it. Number 8. He makes an effort to get along with your loved ones. When a man is in love with you, he knows that your people matter to you, and because they matter to you, they matter to him. That doesn't mean he'll instantly become best friends with your family or he'll always love hanging out with your friends. But what it does mean is that he'll make an effort because he knows how important they are in your life. You'll see it in small, meaningful ways. Maybe he remembers your best friend's name and actually listens when you talk about her drama. Maybe he makes an effort to bond with your family when you bring him around, instead of just sitting awkwardly on his phone. Maybe he actually asks how your loved ones are doing, even when they're not around. Men who are just casually dating don't usually care much about this. They'll tolerate meeting people if they have to, but they won't actively try to build relationships with them. But a man who loves you, well, he understands that love isn't just about the two of you. It's about your world, your people, and the life you've built. And here's another big sign. If he sees you as his future, he'll want you to be a part of his world. If he's keeping you completely separate from his family or close friends, that's usually a red flag. A man who loves you wants the people he loves to know you too. Number 9. He apologizes when he's wrong and actually means it. Apologizing isn't just about saying I'm sorry. It's about taking accountability and actually making a change. A man who loves you values the relationship more than his ego. And when he messes up, and trust me, he will, he doesn't just get defensive or try to turn it back on you. He doesn't gaslight you or act like you're overreacting. Instead, he acknowledges his mistake, takes responsibility, and actively tries to do better. This is huge because a lot of guys struggle with admitting that they're wrong. Society teaches men to be strong, dominant, and right all the time. So when a man humbles himself, puts his pride to the side, and genuinely apologizes, that's a sign of deep emotional investment. And here's how you know if his apology is real. His actions change. It's not just about apologizing, it's about learning, improving, and making sure he doesn't repeat the same mistakes. A man who doesn't care about you will dismiss your feelings, make excuses, or turn things into an argument just to avoid taking responsibility. But a man who loves you, he'd rather work on himself than lose you. Number 10. He supports your growth, even when it's hard for him. A man in love wants to see you thrive. He wants to see you become the best version of yourself, even if it's inconvenient for him. That means he supports your dreams, your goals, and your self-improvement, even when it challenges him. Here's what I mean. If you get a big career opportunity that means spending more time working, he doesn't guilt trip you, he celebrates you. If you're working on yourself, hitting the gym, reading more, improving your mindset, he encourages you rather than feeling threatened. If you start setting healthier boundaries, even with him, he respects them rather than pushing back. A lot of men struggle with this because growth can be uncomfortable. Sometimes when a woman starts improving herself, well, it forces a man to reflect on his own growth or lack of it. But a man who genuinely loves you will choose to grow with you and not hold you back. A guy who just likes you might enjoy your company, but he won't actively push you toward your best self. But a guy who loves you will support, challenge, and uplift you because he wants to see you win, even if it's not always easy for him. Number 11. He's emotionally consistent. A lot of guys are hot and cold. One day they're obsessed with you and the next day they're distant and uninterested. They say all the right things, but their actions don't match up. A man in love, he's different. He's consistent. That doesn't mean he's perfect or that he'll never have bad days, but it does mean that he's emotionally stable, reliable, and doesn't play games. He doesn't disappear for days and then come back with an excuse. He doesn't shower you with affection one week and then act like you barely exist the next. Love isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up day in, day out, even when things aren't perfect. A man who truly loves you will make you feel safe, secure, and valued consistently. If you find yourself constantly wondering where you stand with him, if he makes you feel unstable, anxious, or uncertain, that's not love. That's a lack of emotional maturity. Love feels steady, not chaotic. Number 12. He loves you in your worst moments, not just your best. Anybody can love you when you're happy, confident, and glowing, but real love shows up when things get tough. A man in love doesn't just stick around for the good times. He's there when you're stressed, struggling, insecure, or even at your lowest. If you're having a bad day, he doesn't get annoyed. He checks in. If you're feeling insecure, he doesn't belittle you. He reassures you. If you're going through something tough, he doesn't run. He stays. And most importantly, he doesn't love you conditionally. His love isn't based on you always being perfect, always being happy, or always being easy to deal with. He loves you for who you are, even in the moments you don't love yourself. That's how you know it's real. If your man is showing most of these signs, then congratulations, you've got someone who truly is in love with you. But if he's inconsistent, distant, or making you question where you stand, then it might be time to reevaluate. Love isn't just about how he feels. It's about how he treats you every single day. Let me know in the comments, do you recognize these signs in your man? And if you want more dating advice that actually helps, make sure to subscribe and check out the links in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.